Let us try to understand something today which has to do with the soul needing a partner. First of all, a very important thing that we have to know, we have to learn about is that the soul is complete in itself. Whether it is a soul of a twin flame who is on the twin flame journey, or another person who does not know about the twin flames and is not conscious. Everybody, of course, has a twin flame. That's the nature of creation. So, whatever the soul's journey is of awakening, it does not need a mate. It does not need another person to complete itself. And this can't be more true for twin flames. While twin flames are in opposite polarities and there is greater harmony and love that one experiences with their twin flame, the truth is that you first of all have to realize the completeness and the wholeness and the energy balance of both energies within you before you can come into harmony with your physical counterpart. And that only goes to show that, first of all, you have to know the experience of your own completeness. It's not about creating that completeness, it is not about trying to do something to feel complete. It's just about uncovering the truth that you are already complete. This is what this journey is, where you will shed layer after layer after layer of that incompleteness, coming to a point of absolute balance, harmony, and completeness within you, within your system. So, when you are looking at your twin flame and you are pining for your twin flame or desiring their love or affection, especially, when you are going to sleep or you're waking up, you are imagining that they are with you. You have this need that I want to be with them, and or throughout the day, or the general, overarching picture of your life is that this only will perpetuate that state of desire that you're in for a longer period of time as you stay in the the energy of desire in the present moment. This is what you manifest into the future, is more and more lack, because desire is always stemming from a lack. So this is, of course, basic law of attraction that we don't have to go into because most of you already understand it. Simply speaking, the fact is that when you look at your twin flame and when you feel all that love for your twin flame and you feel all that attraction and all that, like how amazing is this person, all of that is something that you feel for yourself because your twin flame is you. So you feel all that attraction and all that, inspiration or all that, like how can somebody be just that good, just that perfect? It's just basically a reflection of how can anybody except you be just that good and just that perfect. The whole universe is just a reflection of us. There is no other. And this can't be more true for a twin flame connection, that there literally is no other. So, through the introduction of your twin flame journey, you're basically being introduced to the fact of your life that it is you. There is no other in any way, in any form, in anybody else. There is only you, there is only you, there is only you, right? In everybody, there is only you. They are just a reflection of some aspect of you. So, whatever are your connections, they are just a reflection of some aspect of you. This is a fact, this is the way, this is a spiritual truth, right? And this is why beings who realize, when they come into, when they become gurus or they help other beings in very profound ways, this is why divine loves you so much, because you yourself are divine. Why is divine so committed to you? Because you are a part of the divine. You are a reflection of the divine yourself to the divine, right? So there is no other. And this is why you will come into that feeling of unconditional love. And this is, the whole idea of even non duality. Even that idea where, in your crown chakra, when you the energy reaches the crown, you basically are completely transcending duality in all ways and forms, the state of samadhi, the state of nirvikalp samadhi, as it is called. So, if you are very confused, now a long time ago, I had watched the Samadhi movie series. It's on YouTube, but I do not remember at all if that is what this series is speaking of. But I do know that it has deconstructed, spiritual concepts in a wonderful way. And because it's in an audio visual format, they have excellent visuals. You can definitely check out, that 3-part movie. I think now they have other parts. I've literally not seen it in a really, really long time, but now even I want to go and watch it. So this is who we are. This is the reality of life. So when you become obsessed with your twin flame, when you start saying, I want this, and this is the person who completes me, and every other person is, not comparing to this person, or my life is incomplete, my life is on a standstill till my twin flame comes, or why is he doing this? Why is he behaving in this way? He insulted me, he did this, he did that. You have all that litany of complaints about your twin flame. All those complaints are just the complaints you have with yourself. This is something that is very triggering to listen to, because many of you will feel like, what about the other person's responsibility? There is no other. And this is not making sense to the mind. This is not meant to make sense to the mind, because the mind is a construct of the physical. Even in ancient yoga, mind is just another layer of the body. There is no separate mind, brain, there is no attribution given to the mind. Mind is not recognized in yoga. There are just different layers to the body. These layers are called koshas. So if you want, you can do more research on, what these koshas are. One of this kosha is the manomay, I think, which has something to do with the mind. So, and there are other layers to it. What mind is such an abstract word to begin with anyway. So there are emotions, like there is going to be a body which will host emotions. There is an etheric body and the physical body and so on. So everything is, which relates to the body is of a dualistic nature. It is of a nature of transactions. Naturally, if I am in the body, you come and sit in front of me, you are in a separate body. If I am only relating to you through the body, and my consciousness is very identified with my body, mind, my identity, as this is my name, this is what I do, this is who I am, then obviously I'm going to see you as separate from me. And obviously everything that you do or say to me is going to seem like your responsibility to me. It is going to seem like you are wrong or you are very good. All of this is going to make me put you either on a pedestal or look down upon you, right? This is what the human mind will always do. The human mind does not have the capability to see things just as they are. All of that kind of a capability comes to us only when we are spiritually conscious. But if I have transcended this dualistic nature in at least some way or form, I have experiences of not being the body mind, maybe through deep conscious experiences, which of course we all have with our twin flames. And even in general, even through deep meditation, some of you may be doing powerful meditative practices. Just through that, you could have experienced this this feeling of not being the body and the mind, and that becomes profound for you. That becomes, the profoundness, the center point of your experience of life. Then it'll become very easy for you to accept the fact that the other is just a reflection of me. And I am the one who is really responsible for my life. I am creating my realities. What I am sending out is just showing up in my reality. As you say, what goes around comes around, or as you sow, so shall you reap. You don't even have to, this is still going to become very easy to understand. If you even simplify it further, you don't even have to say what goes around comes around. You are just basically creating your reality as you go, whether you realize it or you don't realize it. As you stand, the thoughts you think, the beliefs you have, all that energy that you're putting into a certain kind of a manifestation, What are your karmas basically doing? Karmas, which give you your tendencies, which basically are called vasanas, along with your samskaras, the karmic impressions that you're carrying across lifetimes that you're not liberated from even after you quit your body, until you reach that state of samadhi, where you really are then able to distance yourself from that karma, and that karma can then be dissolved. So, until you basically reach that state, you can keep feeling that somebody else is creating my reality. My reality is literally not in my hands at all. But the fact is that all of these impressions and karma and tendencies are the ones that have given you your thought process, and that has drawn in your experiences of life right from your childhood, right from where you're born and whom you're born to and everything. And all of that has created this reality for you that you're experiencing. This is why astrology is so clearly able to figure it out. Everything, this is the nature of the universe, the planetary alignments and such, on the date and the time of the birth of this individual born in this place. This is the kind of karma that this person has, because your karma is also geographical. Your karma is also of it. It's linked to the larger karma of the cosmos and the universe as well, right? So anything which is physical is of the has the nature of karma in it. It has a memory. This is just how it is. And to transcend all of this is why you have your spiritual awakening. So when you say karmic connections, every connection is karmic. Every connection has a past memory. This is why it is showing up. Nothing new can ever show up. you know Only very, very, I would, in my understanding and experience, only a relationship with your guru transcends karma, and it's of the soul. This is why the mind can resist it, and it can't understand it, and it is very triggered and all of that, because it is out of the ordinary, it is out of the pattern and the memory that you have. And of course, with your twin flame is you. That is why it's at the soul level. That is why it is transcending karma. This is why you have to, in some sense, release that karmic impression which is causing you to act and react in the same way, go on and on in the same cycles. And this is very, very deep. And all of this, if you find this interesting, all of this has been decoded, understood, and elaborated on to an extent. I'm only not even scratching the surface. I'm an absolute illiterate when it comes to this. This is all the wisdom of yoga. This is all, ancient wisdom, because this is the wisdom of enlightened beings, of beings who were not just enlightened, but they were sages of the highest order. It's one thing to be enlightened, It's still a smaller thing compared to becoming a being who has siddhis. Siddhis as in, like, they have some divine gifts that give them, this power to create certain, like, divine forms, to have all this information. So such beings have walked, this planet, such as Patanjali, for instance, who was a non-dualistic being. He's even represented as half snake, half man, signifying that he was beyond the duality, right? Snake, of course, representing the kundalini energy and stuff. So, or also the heightened perception. So this is, that wisdom of the universe, and this is so exciting. If you really feel into this wisdom of the universe, this is the wisdom that twin flames can understand. When you are experiencing yourself in another body, in another person, when you look into your twin flames eyes, that you're basically, after a certain point, this calls for another video, but you will start seeing yourself in your twin flame. And that just means that the person that you are running after, or the person that you're loving, is just you. There is literally no other, right? This is the experience of enlightenment. This is the experience of Nirvikalp Samadhi as well. That I am in everything, and my consciousness is not defined or made limited by this body and by this mind. The mind is a very, very small part of the whole game, of the whole creation. The mind is very petty, very limited. The mind, because only has repetitions in it, because the mind is a result of the karma. So the mind is of no significance in yoga. Sadhguru was explaining this recently. I came across this, and That is very interesting, because even I was curious as to why yoga and ancient spirituality, they have no mention of the mind. Very little is spoken of in the Bhagavad Gita, and here and there, about like raising children or how you should be, but everything is not even spoken of at that level. And this is because the mind is not, number one, different from the body, right? And secondly, the mind has no significance because the mind is really small. When we are speaking of, the cosmic like creation and who we are and everything, the mind can't understand anything. The mind is just repeating the same impressions and the same stuff that it has accumulated, just the conditioning that we have. And this is why we will keep relating to the world from our mind, and we will not undertake, this journey as a spiritual journey. We will keep looping on the journey. We will keep thinking my twin flame is separate from me because I am operating from my mind. This is the only consciousness I have, and I must chase this person down, and I must have that litany of complaints which are logical, which are valid, and nobody can invalidate those complaints, because they don't understand what I have gone through. The mind will always make you suffer, and the mind will always give you all these doubts and concerns and fears and self-victimization narratives. And this is what your journey is not about, and this is why your journey is spiritual, and this is why it has this experiences of separation and experiences of so much intensity, because it's trying to tell you that go beyond the mind. Experience your life as who you are. Don't limit yourself to the mind and just that limited way of looking at everything as separate from me. Go beyond the duality. And what can be a better way than a twin flame connection to literally go beyond the duality and enter into the truth of who you are? So I know that, I touched upon a lot of complex things. I know there may be some loose ends here and there that I have not tied intentionally, because it's going to become very, very long for me to do that right now at this point of time. But yes, in the future, I will speak more and more about non duality. If you want me to, somebody had commented they want to understand more about karmic cycles. So, yes, I will definitely speak about that. And yeah, it's basically, a complex and a very large kind of a playground right now that we're playing in. And like I said, you can watch that movie. It is very uplifting. It can be very, very like, I remember when I'd watched the Samadhi series, I took some time to watch it. So a lot of that information was not very shocking or revelatory, so to speak, but it was very profound. It offered a lot of clarity, and it's a really, really well made series. So yeah, just watch maybe 15-20 minutes of it every day, and then watch some of it again. It's a long kind of a, it can take you almost a week or something to finish it. But why not do that? Why not utilize the resources that we have, and rather than reinventing the wheel and trying to figure this out on our own and doing a shoddy job of it. So this is actually the wisdom of spiritual knowledge, is there is so much of a corpus of spiritual knowledge which is already there, that has been deciphered, that has been spoken of by enlightened beings, by different stages, and it's very good to explore these texts, this information of spirituality, of learning these practices, or going into understanding this, because somewhere this is where, if you can reorient your mind. Now, the mind with its karmic impressions and thought patterns is only inclined to think about things a certain way. But when we consume this spiritual information, we retrain the mind to think differently, and then the mind will not become a barrier in your spiritual process. So this is, the intention of even this channel or other channels that are speaking of spiritual wisdom or understanding the journey spiritually. It's just this, that reorient the mind so that the mind can, stop taking you for a ride, right? But at the end of the day, we are not the beings of the mind. We have to transcend the mind. We only want to reorient it and retrain it just to the extent that it does not interfere in our spiritual practice or our real spiritual conscious experiences. Otherwise, spiritual consciousness has nothing to do with the thought. It can be a nonsensical thought, it can be a positive thought, it can be a negative thought. It absolutely has no relevance with your spiritual truth, your spiritual consciousness. But because we're engaging with life from the mind, we have to work a little bit with the mind. We can't bypass the mind. We have to, look into the consciousness that the mental space is occupying with all its thoughts, its traumas, and everything. We definitely have to. We can't kind of say that we don't have to work with it, or we are not impacted by it. This is a whole journey of, in fact, your twin flame union is the purification of this mental body, emotional body, this consciousness which is inhabited by the mind and the emotions and the stuck past energies, right? So consume good, high quality, high vibrational spiritual content. There is so much of it on YouTube. You can read these books, you can watch this, movie, and look at your journey only from a spiritual standpoint. Only then you will stop looping. Otherwise, you will be in a state of disempowerment and thinking that my twin flame has power over my life, or my situations are not in my control, and stuff like that. Okay. So I hope that this helped all of you. And if you wish to work one-on-one with me, all that information is in the link below. You can see the kinds of sessions that I offer for your journey. If you feel guided to and you're receptive to what I share, then you can definitely email me to book a session. Sending you lots of love. Take care.